All right, welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive.
Yeah.
This time, we're going deep into dancehall royalty, unpacking all the buzz around Vybz Kartel's engagement. So, for those of you who might not be, as up on your dancehall, Vybz Kartel is basically a living legend,
Oh, yeah.
the world boss, as he's known. Think like Jay-Z level impact, but for dancehall. But he's not just a musical genius, he's also a savvy businessman. Ventures like his own rum, street vibes. But recently, it's his love life that's got everyone talking. He just proposed to his longtime girlfriend, Sidem, and we're about to unpack what this means for Kartel, his music, and maybe even the future of dancehall itself.
I think it's so interesting how this engagement isn't just some isolated event. It's like dropping a pebble in a pond and watching the ripples spread out. You've got Kartel back in the spotlight after his release from prison. He's already dropped some fire new tracks, and now this engagement. It's like he's announcing a whole new chapter, not just personally, but for his career, too.
Let's start with the proposal itself, because Kartel did not disappoint. He went full-on romantic with this one. Super emotional video on Instagram, showing him getting down on one knee,
Oh, yeah.
the sparkling ring, Sidem's tearful, yes,
Yeah.
the whole 9 yards. But, Kartel, he's always got to add that extra layer of depth.
Right. His caption alone is worth analyzing. He calls Sidem his, quote, #1wife, and reveals that he actually proposed to her while he was still incarcerated. That right there tells you everything about the strength of their bond.
Oh, for sure.
Sidem stood by him through thick and thin, and now Kartel is shouting his love and appreciation from the rooftops. He even wrote, quote, "You were there when I needed you most." Talk about loyalty.
And remember, this is Vybz Kartel we're talking about. His lyrics have always been raw and real, drawing from his own life experiences. So when he says, "We laughed together, we cried together, and now we celebrate together," it's not just some cheesy line. It's a glimpse into their journey, a testament to their love story.
This actually brings up a really important point about the evolution of dancehall. For a long time, the genre has been dominated by this image of the tough, hardened bad man. And Kartel himself embodies that archetype. But this engagement, this open display of love and commitment, it's like he's challenging that stereotype. It's saying you can be powerful and vulnerable, a lyrical genius and a devoted partner.
Yeah. And that shift, even if subtle, could have major ripple effects. Think about the younger artists coming up in dancehall, looking to Kartel as their blueprint. What does this tell them about expressing their own emotions, about balancing their personal lives with their careers?
Exactly. It's like Kartel is saying it's okay to be real, to show your heart, even in a genre that's often built on bravado. This could be a major turning point, not just for Kartel's music, but for the future direction of dancehall itself.
Okay, but let's not forget the elephant in the room. Kartel has a history. And it's no secret that his ex, Tanisha Shorty Johnson, is a huge part of that story. They have kids together, and for years, fans saw them as the ultimate dancehall power couple.
It's fascinating how much fans have invested in that narrative. That image of Kartel and Shorty as this unstoppable duo.
Yeah.
And now, with the engagement, it's like this collective gasp of, wait, what about Shorty?
Exactly. Everyone's wondering what she thinks, how she feels. But so far, she's remained totally silent on the matter.
And that silence speaks volumes, right?
Yeah.
It adds this whole layer of intrigue and speculation. It's like a soap opera unfolding in real time. But let's not get too caught up in the drama. There's a bigger picture here, and it goes beyond just relationship gossip.
You're right. This engagement isn't just about Kartel's personal life. It's about his legacy, his artistic evolution, and his impact on the entire dancehall scene.
Yeah.
And we're just scratching the surface here. Hold tight, because we're about to dive even deeper into the implications of this engagement in part 2. We're back, and I don't know about you, but my mind is buzzing thinking about all the possibilities this engagement opens up for Kartel's music. We were just talking about this shift towards vulnerability. And now I'm wondering, could Sidem be the muse behind a whole new sound for Kartel?
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be surprising, would it? Love has always been a powerful source of inspiration for artists across all genres. But in dancehall, where the focus has often been on aggression and dominance, this could be like a real game changer.
Imagine this. Kartel, the world boss, known for his hardcore lyrics, suddenly dropping a track that's a full-on love song dedicated to Sidem. It's like a whole new side of him we haven't seen before.
Right. And think about the impact this could have on his fan base. You've got the diehard fans who've been with him from day one. They might be resistant to change, holding on to that classic Kartel sound. Then you've got the newer listeners,
Yeah.
maybe drawn in by his post-prison comeback, who are more open to this evolution.
It's almost like he's bridging these two worlds, showing the old guard that it's okay to evolve, to embrace new emotions, while also introducing a new generation to the depth and complexity of dancehall.
Yeah. And let's not forget the potential for musical collaborations.
Hmm.
We know Sidem has great taste. After all, she did choose to be with Cartel. Maybe she'll even start to influence his production choices, introducing him to new sounds or even collaborating with him directly.
Now that's a thought. Could we see Sidem stepping into the studio, adding her own vocals to Cartel's tracks? That would be huge. It would be like a modern-day dancehall power couple, not just in their personal lives, but in their music, too.
Yeah. It wouldn't be unprecedented. We've seen dancehall couples collaborate before, and the results have been explosive. Think about Beanie Man and D'Angel back in the day. Their chemistry on stage and in the studio was undeniable.
And speaking of Beanie Man and D'Angel, remember their wedding? It was like a fairy tale come to life. The biggest, most glamorous event dancehall had ever seen. Cartel was reportedly even a guest at that wedding.
Really?
Yeah.
And now we're all wondering, could Cartel and Sidem's wedding top that? Will they go even bigger, even bolder, creating a spectacle that sets a new standard for dancehall celebrations? It's exciting to think about, isn't it?
Absolutely. And it's not just about the spectacle, it's about the symbolism. This wedding, if it happens, will be more than just a celebration of love. It'll be a statement, a declaration of Cartel's triumphant return, his reclaiming of his throne, and now with Sidem by his side, stepping into a new era, potentially as dancehall's new king and queen.
That's interesting. And for Sidem, this is a huge transformation. She's gone from being his support system behind the scenes to potentially becoming a public figure, a dance hall icon in her own right.
Talk about a whirlwind, but from everything we've seen, she seems ready to embrace this new chapter. And let's be honest, she's got the style, the grace, and the loyalty to pull it off. It's like watching a real-life Cinderella story unfold right in front of us.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And just like in those fairy tales, there's always a bit of drama, a touch of intrigue. Remember the mixed reactions we talked about earlier? Some fans are ecstatic for Cartel, while others are still clinging to the nostalgia of his past with Shorty.
Right, right. It's understandable, right? People invest in these narratives, in these relationships, and change can be hard to accept. But whether they like it or not, Sidem is here to stay, and she's already making her mark.
And that brings us to a really important point. Sidem isn't just entering Cartel's life. She's entering a whole ecosystem, a complex web of relationships, rivalries, and traditions that make up the dancehall world.
Right. It's like stepping into a royal court with its own set of rules, alliances, and power dynamics. And Sidem, as the new queen, will have to navigate all of that. But if she plays her cards right, she has the potential to become a major force, not just as Cartel's partner, but as a powerful figure in her own right.
Yeah. It's going to be fascinating to see how she handles this new role, how she balances her own identity with the demands of being Mrs. Vybz Kartel. Will she embrace the spotlight? Will she use her platform to champion causes she believes in? Or will she choose to remain more behind the scenes, a quiet but influential force in Cartel's life and career?
These are all questions we'll be watching unfold in the coming months and years. But one thing's for sure, Sidem's presence is already shaking things up, adding a whole new layer of complexity and excitement to the already captivating world of Vybz Kartel.
It really is.
Yeah.
And as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, it's clear that this engagement is more than just a personal milestone. It's a cultural moment, a potential turning point for Cartel, for Sidem, and maybe even for dancehall itself. But there's still so much to unpack, so many questions to explore. Stick with us because in part 3, we're going to tackle the biggest question of all. What does this all mean for the future of dancehall?
All right, so we're back, and it feels like we've only just scratched the surface of what this engagement could mean for Cartel's future, Sidem's role, and dancehall as a whole. What are your thoughts? Like, what's the biggest question on your mind right now?
Well, we talked about, the potential for Cartel's music to evolve, for Sidem to become a force in her own right. But I think the real wild card here is how this all plays into the future of dancehall itself. Remember, this genre is more than just music. It's a culture, a reflection of Jamaican society, its values, its struggles, its joys.
Yeah, you're right. And Cartel, throughout his career, has always been a mirror, reflecting those realities, both the good and the bad. His lyrics, his persona, his very presence has shaped the way we see and understand dancehall.
Exactly. So now, with this engagement, with Sidem stepping into the picture, it's like he's introducing a new element into that equation.
Yeah.
And it's got me thinking, will this soften the edges of dancehall, make it more palatable to a wider audience?
That's an interesting thought. Dancehall has always had this raw, gritty edge to it, which is part of its appeal, but it's also been a barrier to entry for some. Could Cartel's embrace of love and commitment with Sidem by his side, open the door for a more inclusive, maybe even a more romantic era of dancehall?
It's definitely possible. We've already seen a shift in recent years towards more conscious lyrics, a focus on social issues, and a celebration of female empowerment within the genre. Cartel's engagement, with its emphasis on loyalty, resilience, and love conquering all, could amplify that trend, pushing dancehall even further in that direction.
And think about the visual impact as well. We know Cartel is a master of image and style, always pushing boundaries and setting trends. What will this new era, with Sidem as his muse, look like aesthetically? Could we see a move away from the hardcore imagery, the bad man persona, towards something softer, more romantic, maybe even more glamorous?
Oh, it's exciting to imagine, isn't it? We could see a whole new wave of fashion, music videos, and stage performances inspired by this love story, a blending of the classic dancehall elements with this fresh, almost fairy tale-like aesthetic.
Yeah, yeah. It would be a visual representation of this evolution we're talking about, a merging of the old and the new, the raw and the refined. It would be Cartel, once again, redefining what it means to be a dance hall icon, showing the world that you can be a world boss and still have a heart.
And that message, that ability to embrace both strength and vulnerability, that's something that resonates far beyond the borders of Jamaica. Dancehall has always had a global reach, but this new era, with Cartel leading the charge, could take it to a whole new level.
Oh, I'm already picturing collaborations with international artists, maybe even a crossover into mainstream pop music. It's like the world is ready to embrace dancehall, and Cartel, with his undeniable talent and now this captivating love story, is perfectly positioned to lead that charge.
Yeah, it's like he's holding all the cards right now, and it's up to him how he wants to play them. Will he stick to his roots, stay true to the hardcore sound that made him famous? Or will he embrace this new chapter, this softer side, and risk alienating some of his old fans?
It's a gamble for sure, but with Cartel, you can never rule anything out. He's always been a risk taker, a game changer, and that's part of what makes him so compelling. We as fans are along for the ride, and honestly, I can't wait to see where this journey takes us.
Me neither. And as we wrap up this deep dive, I think the biggest takeaway here is that Vybz Kartel's engagement is more than just a personal event. It's a cultural moment with the potential to reshape not just his own career, but the entire landscape of dancehall. And that's something worth paying attention to.
Absolutely. So there you have it, folks. Vybz Kartel, the world boss, is back. He's in love, and he's about to take us all on a wild ride. Keep your ears open, your eyes peeled, and get ready for the next chapter in the ever-evolving story of dancehall.